No less than 1,849% of infidelity is started, facilitated, and hidden on the almighty smartphone. Gentlemen, I'm telling you, man, listen, the advent of the smartphone has brought forth many technological advances that have changed the world in many ways. Most of those changes are actually good changes. But one of the most damaging things the smartphone has done to mankind is the ease with which infidelity can be cultivated. At its core, the article starts, Isuba spelled backwards is about control. So in a world where everyone has a phone and most people are on some form of social media, this need for control can lead potentially Isuba spelled backwards partner to insist on keeping tabs on your online interactions and your technological devices. What is most common these days that I have seen with my clients that are in Isuba relationships is the use of technology as a means of control, says Aguirre. Resubers will often try to restrict their partner's use of social media, guilt them for being friends with certain people online, or for the content of their posts. They will ask to check their partner's phone, read their texts, and check their call logs. What's most difficult about this type of Isuba is that the Resuba will typically justify this type of control by saying it's part of building trust and being honest with one another. Are you kidding me with this? It doesn't matter, she continues, how open and honest a relationship. Partners are entitled to something that is all their own, and their phone is just one example of that. Okay, let's take this from the top. The first sentence, at its core, Isuba is about control. Now, I'm not a Resuba spelled backwards, so I couldn't tell you whether or not Isuba is about control, but I will say this. Men who are worth a damn are not interested in controlling women, guys. High-value men have no desire to physically control a woman. One of the coolest things about being in a relationship as a man in demand is that you know your woman is your girlfriend because she wants to be, not because she has to be. I'm not interested in controlling my girlfriend, guys. I'm not. Why? Because I want her to do things for me because she wants to, not because she has to. A woman who does things for a man because she has to, she thinks of it as a chore. Nobody likes chores, guys, right? Devin loves being my personal porn star / stripper between the sheets. She loves dressing up in these skimpy little outfits. She loves strutting around in heels, and she loves draining my balls. She loves watching me drool as she comes downstairs. The reason she loves doing these things is because she knows it makes me happy. She doesn't have to do any of that stuff. If she felt like she did, she wouldn't smoke my sausage with the same ferocity. Nobody wants a half-hearted Bobby Joe, guys. No man wants starfish sex. Pardon me. No man wants starfish sex from his woman. Okay? That's just not how it works. A man who attempts to control his woman is a man who does not get her best. Okay? Women do not want controlling men, guys. They want men who are in control. And by in control, I'm talking about controlling his surroundings, controlling his environment, controlling his emotions, controlling his universe. A man who controls his universe will always have women lined up to be a part of his world. Gladys Knight said it best in A Midnight Train to Georgia. She said, quote, "I'd rather live in his world than live without him in mind." Okay? The kind of man that Gladys Knight is talking about is a man who is not controlling. She's talking about a man she is wholeheartedly willing to submit and surrender to because he makes her feel safe and desired. Two of the most important things women need from a high-value man in any relationship of consequence. Low-value men attempt to control women. Low-value men give women ultimatums. Giving a woman an ultimatum is a sign of weakness. Men of worth give women choices. Lesser men give women ultimatums. So when the author says that abuse is about control, she is talking about men who have a few options. Men who have this scarcity mindset. Now, where Miss Shadow goes completely off the rails is when she says, quote, "This need for control can lead to to a potentially evisible partner to insist on keeping tabs on your online interactions and technological devices. Gentlemen, let me be clear when I make this statement so there is no mistake in here. No less than 1,849% of infidelity is started, facilitated, and hidden on the almighty smartphone. Gentlemen, I'm telling you, man, listen, the advent of the smartphone has brought forth many technological advances that have changed the world in many ways. Most of those changes are actually good changes. But one of the most damaging things the smartphone has done to mankind is the ease with which infidelity can be cultivated. Never mind the fact that most social media apps are glorified dating apps, right? Like let's not pretend that we all don't know that Facebook and Instagram have evolved into a virtual meat market, otherwise known as dating options. Never mind any of that. No. There are now apps that actually encourage and facilitate and hide cheating, as in these apps were created to keep one's extramarital affairs away from their unwitting boyfriends or husbands. Guys, everyone knows that a smartphone is where all the bodies are buried, pun definitely intended. There is not one single human woman in the Western Hemisphere who does not use her smartphone to cheat. There is not one woman out here who cheats but doesn't use her smartphone to facilitate and get away with it. I don't need studies or statistics to verify what I'm saying. This is universal knowledge and universally agreed upon by literally every Homo sapien in the West. So it stands to reason that a man would reserve the right to look at his woman's phone anytime he wants to. Now again, this is the same thing. This is something that you as a man has to make clear before you commit to a woman. I discussed that at length a couple of weeks back. You guys can go and find that video. But if you don't make it clear to your woman that her phone is community property as a condition to your continued commitment, you can't ask her to see her phone, then get mad when she tells you no. This is something you should have nailed down before you committed to her. Then Amanda Shadow mentions, quote, abusers will often try to restrict their partner's use of social media, guilt them for being friends with certain people, or for the content of their posts. This is like a tenant who signed a 1-year lease being shamed for objecting to the landlord putting a for rent sign in the yard before the lease is up. Right? Like, think about it. How silly would it be for someone to say, OMG, you're such a terrible tenant? Why are you trying to guilt your landlord out of putting a for rent sign in the yard of the house that you're leasing? What sense does that make? Makes about as much sense as a man making it clear to his woman that he will not commit to her if she wants to continue to advertise herself. And let's be clear. Social media for women is quite literally about advertising themselves to the highest bidder. That's it. Now, I'm sure that there are going to be women all in my comments talking about, well, what if it's for business? Bitch, please. Basic bitches don't make money on social media. Hell, bad bitches don't even make money on social media. So really, unless you're a female celebrity who made your bones on getting boned by professional athletes and rappers and posting booty pics and managed to parlay that into a cash cow, then there's no need for you to be on social media if you're in a relationship. And even then, as Mr. Samuels will mention to Miss Renner here, that doesn't mean you're ready for a relationship. Now, I want you guys to keep in mind that any woman who objects to deleting all of her social media in order to be in a relationship with you isn't necessarily a terrible human being. If she's not willing to take herself off the meat market and stop advertising herself to other men, this simply means that she doesn't like you enough to justify doing this. And guess what, fellas? That's okay. That's not her fault. If a woman doesn't like you enough to actually take herself off the market, which means deleting all of her social media, and again, let's be clear, social media apps are glorified dating sites without having to pay, then you can't shame a woman. You can't shame a woman for not liking you as much as you thought she did. Guys, charge it to the game. Move on with your life. But by the same token, and ladies, you need to listen up here. You cannot expect a man of value to take you seriously as a girlfriend if you are not willing to stop advertising yourself on social media. It's really as simple as that. Okay, listen, we all know that social media apps are literally just digital classifieds for hookups. It is what it is. But let's not kid ourselves. Let's not pretend that that's not what Instagram and Snapchat and WhatsApp and all the rest of them are. Ladies, do not insult the intelligence of a man you're interested in by trying to convince him that you're an influencer and that you simply cannot live without your Instagram. Because you'll both know you're full of shit. Now, he's not going to tell you this to your face. He'll just keep banging you until you figure out he's never going to fully commit to you. And listen, men of value never have to tell women why they won't commit to them, because these women know that women like you, these men know that women like you know deep down why he continues to smash but won't commit. And that is because you have shown an unwillingness to actually take yourself off the market by deleting all social media. Understand this, gentlemen, just because a woman says she's off the market doesn't mean she is. A woman who is truly off the market is a woman who cannot be found on social media. Period. Well, what about my family and friends? If they're important enough to you, you'll already have their phone number. Then, of course, Amanda Shettle talks about being guilted for being friends with certain people online, as if to imply that no one in the history of social media has ever started an affair, a friends with benefits arrangement, or a relationship on social media. Amanda would have us believe that women keep in contact with their exes on social media for innocent reasons like, well, I just needed closure, or I value his friendship. Amanda knows damn well that men step out with random women and women cheat with familiar men. And when she says certain people online, she is talking about ex-boyfriends, ex-flings, ex-whoever had his dick in me at some point in time. No man is ever okay with a woman maintaining contact with any man who has slept with her. That's not being insecure. That's exercising common fucking sense. You see, women lose their minds when they see a man's ex-girlfriend or ex-fuck buddy is following him or his friend on Facebook. They go absolutely mental when one of them comments on or, God forbid, likes his picture or post. But when we have a problem with it, we're controlling abusers? Make that make sense. Oh, that's right. It doesn't. Now, the last sentence in this paragraph is a microcosm of the outright lack of respect for male intelligence that women lack for men in this country. It doesn't matter how open and honest a relationship. Partners are entitled to something that is all their own, and their phone is just one example of that. Gentlemen, if this statement right here doesn't show you how little respect women have for men in this part of the world, nothing will. The fact that this woman says that partners are entitled to something that is all their own and that the device that facilitates and encourages bad behaviors, characteristics, and habits is just one example of that shows us once again that today's women want all of the benefits of something without any of the costs. Good relationships come at a cost. Now, it's also worth pointing out that the costs are very different for men and women. We already know what our costs are. I've discussed it ad nauseum over the years. But guess what, men? We are actually willing to pay the price. We're willing to keep our value up. We're willing to stay in shape. We're willing to make all of the difficult decisions. We're willing to take responsibility for the relationship. We're willing to make our women feel safe and desired if she deserves that. We're willing to pay the price. Women? Nope, not interested. Women would rather have all the benefits of a committed relationship without having to pay the relationship price. They want the alpha without the alpha challenges. You know, like other women wanting him, throwing themselves at him, things like that. Women are unwilling to relinquish all autonomy, which means being completely transparent. Understand this, ladies, and I'm talking to you here. If you want a relationship with a man who's worth a damn, your privacy goes right out the window. It is either privacy or transparency. You cannot have both. You can't have conditional transparency either. Well, I'll show you my phone, but it has to be when I want to show it to you. Nope. Sorry, not going to work. Thanks for playing. Outside of medical information, which to be honest with you, should be divulged to your man anyway for obvious reasons. There is nothing you should want to keep private on your smartphone. If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to worry about. OMG, you're so jaded. Nope, I'm experienced. And I, like everyone else, knows and understands very clearly that the smartphone is the key to every woman's infidelity, wives and girlfriends alike. And if the one thing a woman claims to want to herself is her smartphone, she's not ready to be in a relationship. If you are a man and you actually believe the bullshit this woman is spewing in this article, then you deserve to get played. When a woman commits to a man and demands, she automatically knows that privacy, that is a luxury she is forfeiting. And as a man, you give her a choice. It is either privacy or a committed relationship with me, but never both. And again, I want to make clear, you should never, ever, ever tell a woman what she can or cannot do. If she doesn't want to show you her phone, cool. No problem. If she wants to go out with her girls on, to the bar on Friday nights, awesome. Awesome. If she wants to fly to Cancun with her girls for the weekend, tell her to knock herself out. Tell her to knock herself out. Women are entitled to do whatever it is they want to do. But what they are not committed to is a man's commitment. And a man can put whatever conditions and boundaries on his commitment he damn well pleases. And if any woman has a problem with this, then she can kick fucking rocks and keep committing to the guys who, quote, respect your privacy and trust you at the club. Let me know how that works out for you. And to the men who are watching, never, and I mean never, ever, ever compromise your beliefs. Never compromise your standards. Never compromise your boundaries, ever. If a woman wants to be with you bad enough, she will happily and willingly adhere to your program and eventually come to love and respect you for it. She may not like it at first. But as a man, it is very important to understand that if something you do or say upsets a woman, then you're probably doing or saying the right thing.